All right, good morning, everybody. This is Mitch Broderick with Platform. If you're here for the High Hanging Fruit webinar, you are in the right place. You've clicked the right link. So we're really excited this morning. Again, my name's Mitch Broderick. I'm the one that's been emailing you and sending you a bunch of text messages over the past couple of days while we get ready for this webinar. And this is a live webinar, and everybody who joins the webinar is going to get a free copy of the High Hanging Fruit book, and we'll tell you exactly how to do that here in a bit. Just a couple of things before we get started. For most of this webinar, I'm actually just going to be kind of behind the scenes. I'm going to pay attention to the chat here on the right-hand side of the screen. I'll be answering people's text messages and emails as we talk. But I want to just talk for a second about this high-hanging fruit philosophy, this strategy that we're going to talk about that the entire book covers and that this webinar is going to cover. And basically, I used to sell real estate. I sold real estate for 3 years, and then I kind of got a really great opportunity that took me away from it and came full circle and met Tim a few years ago and actually started working with him on Platform. But as a realtor, both somebody who was a new realtor and 3 years into it, you're considered a veteran. I have purchased several different marketing systems. I've tried every piece of marketing. I was a really hungry and young realtor at the time. So I tried every single avenue that I could, sunk a lot of dollars into a lot of different areas, most of which, was either a wash or didn't actually become very profitable for me. So what's really great about this high-hanging fruit system is, well, in my opinion, it's the best lead generation and branding system for any realtor who wants to build a substantial business and a substantial brand in their market, where they're actually creating a predictable pipeline of business versus just trying to buy the next lead that's going to, buy a house, in the next week. And what's really great about this system is that anybody can start. It's useful for people who are veterans in the industry, who've been, selling for 20 years, and it's useful for people who are brand new. One example would be out of the Emerald Coast in Florida, which is kind of like the Pensacola, Navarre, Fort Walton Beach area. We have a client there, Amy Signor, and Diane. Amy Signor and her partner Diane. And when they started, Amy was a brand new agent. And we mean like had literally just gotten her license hung at her broker. And she now, 18 months later, in 2017, she and her partner Diane are the #1 team out of about 800 agents in their area. And they attribute much of that success to the Platform system, being able to build a really great brand where they're recognized in their markets, and where they have this pipeline of people always reaching out to them who, maybe a lead they generated 6 months ago who's finally coming to fruition now. And so they're very excited. I'm sure you'll hear more about Amy and Diane later on in the webinar. But I also want to just take a moment and introduce Tim Chermak, who's going to be delivering his strategy. So Tim is the author of High Hanging Fruit. He's also the CEO of Platform, which is our marketing agency that we implement this system for realtors. And he's going to walk you through the high hanging fruit philosophy and just get really into the fundamentals of why this system's so unique to other marketing systems for realtors and why it works. And so on this webinar, we are going to give away the free book. So we'll tell you exactly how to do that, but we're also giving away the farm. So you'll want to pay attention because we are going to tell you the exact ads that we're running. For some of our biggest ads, we're going to tell you exactly the theory behind them and why it is that they work, and you can actually go home and implement them now. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Tim, and I'm going to hang out here in the background. I'll be pretty responsive to chats and text messages and emails, but if I don't get to you right away, just bear with me. But I will turn it over to Tim. Thank you, Tim.
All right, awesome. So as Mitch said, my name is Tim Chermak. I'm the author of the book High Hanging Fruit, which everyone on this webinar is going to get a copy for free. Just a reminder of that. So I'm the author of High Hanging Fruit. I'm also the CEO of Platform Marketing. We are a marketing agency that primarily actually specializes in working with real estate agents. And so what we're going to be covering on this webinar is this kind of marketing strategy that we really invented. We call it high hanging fruit. The cool thing is I can promise you that this marketing strategy isn't like anything you've ever learned before. So no, we're not just going to tell you to make a bunch of cold calls. This isn't, another training about, the importance of calling expired listings or calling FSBOs for sale by owners. We're not going to teach you any direct mail techniques or door knocking, or we're not even really going to teach you a social media technique, right? This is it's like a marketing philosophy. It's a new way of thinking about marketing. So again, everyone on this webinar is going to get a free copy of my book, High Hanging Fruit. And we're going to actually, in this webinar, show you some of the specific ad examples of how to generate leads using this high hanging fruit philosophy. All right. And then as a special bonus at the end, in addition to getting a free copy of the book, if you're interested, we're actually going to give you a trial month of platform marketing as a bonus at the end, if you're interested. So I'm going to hop into screen share mode here, guys, and we'll dive right into this high hanging fruit training. Give me 1 second. I'll hop into screen share. All right, so everyone should be able to see my screen here. Again, if you're just hopping on, you are going to get a free copy of the book, High Hanging Fruit. This is Tim Chermak speaking. I am the author of the book, High Hanging Fruit, and I'm the CEO of Platform Marketing. So again, what we're going to be covering in this webinar is this whole idea of high hanging fruit. I know that the expression, right, that most realtors use is low hanging fruit. You always want the low hanging fruit, right? You want the business that's easiest to get. How I define high hanging fruit, just getting straight into the substance here this morning on this webinar. How I define high hanging fruit is we intentionally want to generate leads that are probably, 2 months away, 3 months away, maybe even 4 months away from actually being ready to buy or sell a house. Most agents are so busy fighting over the low hanging fruit. And I define low hanging fruit as any buyer or seller, in your market that's ready to go this week or this month, right? It's someone who's actually ready to start house hunting like this week, or it's someone who's ready to have you over for a listing appointment immediately, right? If it's a seller lead, it's not someone that's just doing research or they're just thinking about it. It's basically someone who's ready to go right away. That's how I would define low hanging fruit. And that sounds great, right? Like, obviously, all things being equal, you'd probably rather have a lead that's ready to go right now, right? Versus a lead that's ready to go in like 90 days. The problem with that is that that's what every other agent thinks too. And so paradoxically, the low hanging fruit are actually the hardest leads to generate, and they're the hardest leads to convert because that's where all the competition is. It's a zero-sum game, right? You don't want to be in a competition where, like you get a lead from Zillow or, you're calling expired listings and there's 10 other agents doing the exact same thing you're doing. Those odds just really don't work in your favor, right? So even though we call it low hanging fruit, those are actually paradoxically the hardest leads to convert for that reason. That's where all the competition is. So high hanging fruit is really this, it's not even a tactic, it's a philosophy. It's a new way of thinking about marketing, right? High hanging fruit is this marketing philosophy that tells us that rather than trying to get low hanging fruit, which is what most agents do, we actually intentionally build marketing campaigns where we're intentionally trying to generate leads that are actually higher up in the sales cycle, what I call high hanging fruit. So we're intentionally trying to generate leads that are probably still 90 days away from being ready to buy or sell. Maybe they're even 4 months away. In some cases, they might even be 4 or 5 months away from being ready to buy or sell. So it's all about building a pipeline, right? Because if you build a pipeline, you never have to worry about where your next deal is going to come from, and you don't have any competition for those leads, right? Most agents don't know how to generate high-hanging fruit leads, and so they're left, to just fight over and compete with all the other agents for low-hanging fruit leads, and they get nervous, never knowing where their next closing is going to come from, never knowing where their next check is going to come from, right? They might have just closed a commission check, right? But they actually don't even know if they'll make any money next month or the month after that because they have nothing in the pipeline, right? High-hanging fruit is all about building a pipeline. Again, it's about intentionally building marketing campaigns where we actually don't want leads that are ready to go this month because that's where all the competition is. We would rather have leads that are ready to go in 2 months or in 3 months, right? Because there's really not a lot of competition for those leads. So not only is it cheaper to generate those leads, it's a lot easier to convert those leads. And so this text I have here on the screen, like, yeah, it's great. They got, a listing lead, and it turns out a couple of buyers in there too. So that's all nice. But the most important part is at the end. It says, my pipeline is full, right? That sentence at the end, my pipeline is full. That's what high hanging fruit is all about. It's about building a pipeline of future business so you never have to worry about where your next closing or where your next commission check is going to come from. When you build a high hanging fruit pipeline, you can actually start business planning, right? You can actually start looking at, hey, here's how much I'm spending on advertising every month. Here's the exact dollar amount it typically brings in every month. And then so growing your business is just an issue of math, right? If you know that every $1,000 you spend on marketing brings in $15,000 of GCI, it's pretty easy to scale your business. It's just an issue of math, right? So most agents haven't built any system like that, so they have no idea, which is why they just throw money at random things and, they hope something sticks, right? They'll toss some money at Realtor.com leads, Zillow leads. Maybe they invest in Real Geeks or in Boomtown or Curator, Commissions Inc. They'll go to, Tom Ferry Summit. They'll hire a coach. They'll join masterminds, right? Like, they don't really have a strategy, right? This is about building a marketing strategy so you actually are aware of those numbers. And again, in this webinar, we're going to show you the specific Facebook ads that you need to use to do that too. So I'm not just talking about theory on this webinar. We are going to dive into the exact Facebook ads that we use to generate leads. So let me start by saying that, again, high hanging fruit is not a tactic, right? It's not just about direct mail, or it's not just about Facebook ads. It's not about a cold call script or something. It's bigger than a tactic. And it's honestly even bigger than a strategy, right? So it's neither a tactic or a strategy. High hanging fruit is really a marketing philosophy. It's a new way of thinking about marketing, right? So this is like a way of thinking about marketing that builds you a pipeline 2 months out in the future, 3 months out in the future, 4 months out in the future, right? So we're just coming out of the winter months right now. It is, what is the date today? It is March 14th right now, right? So I do want everyone to know that this is a live webinar, right? It is a live webinar. This is not one of those BS pre-recorded webinars that we tell you it's live and we make you think that it's live, but it's actually recorded. This is a 100% live webinar. My iPhone here says 10:14 a.m. I'm Eastern time zone right now, so it's 10:14 a.m. March 14th. To prove to you that it's live, I'm a football fan and I'm a Vikings fan, and the Vikings just signed Kirk Cousins today to like a 3-year contract worth like $80 million or something like that. Sam Bradford just signed with the Arizona Cardinals. Trump just enacted some tariffs for the steel industry. So there you go. There's some current events that just happened to prove that this is a live webinar, right? So I was saying, if this strategy works in the winter, right, imagine how well it'll work in the spring. Because especially if you're in, an area of the country that has a little bit colder winters, right? So you're probably not doing as many transactions in November, December, January, February. Imagine how well it'll work in the spring. So I want to show you this quick video just to prove to you how effective this high hanging fruit idea is. This is Michelle. She's a realtor in rural Tennessee. And she implemented this in November. So she was on this same webinar that you're on right now. We did this live webinar live back in November too. And she was on that webinar and she took action, I think right before Thanksgiving. And here's the results that she created in the middle of the winter, actually in her very first month using this high hanging fruit system. So keep in mind, if she can do this in the middle of the winter in Tennessee, imagine how effective it's going to be for you now that we're in March of 2018. So it's actually, the spring buying and selling season is right around the corner, right? So if she can create results like this in the winter, again, imagine how good it'll be for you in the spring if you take action on this.
Hi, this is Michelle Jones from Tennessee. I joined the platform webinar. I signed up, and my results for the first 10 days are that the 2 new listings ads that I ran with platform, I got both under contract in the same day. I also have 5 active buyers that I'm currently working with now, and I also have obtained 3 new listings.
So I know that those numbers almost sound too good to be true. So that's why I actually asked her to film a video for us. Because if I would have just put that case study, that story in text, You probably wouldn't believe me, right? It almost sounds too good to be true that she got 5 active buyer clients and 3 listings from this in her very first month using this high hanging fruit strategy. So that's why I asked her to film a video, because I know it almost sounds a little bit far-fetched. But again, that's in the middle of the winter. So imagine how well this is going to work if you launch this system right in, the spring, because we're in March now. So what we're going to talk about is, again, what this high hanging fruit idea means. I'm going to talk about why I believe most internet leads suck now in 2018. And that's any lead source, any company. So I'm not going to pick on like one particular company, right? Whether you're getting your leads from, Google, whether you're getting your leads from Realtor.com, Commissions Inc., Boomtown, Zillow, Curator, whatever, right? Pretty much all those companies have the same business model. And I'll explain why I think that business model is broken and it's kind of irrelevant in 2018 because of changes in the algorithm on Google that affect the cost per click and cost per lead of everything. So I'm going to share with you why that's the case and what you should be doing instead if you want to generate more leads and grow your business. So one thing I'll be doing throughout this webinar is sharing a bunch of video stories of agents that have taken action on this. Because I want you guys to realize this is not just a theory I have. This is something I've actually been doing for the last like 4 years, actually. I've been working with real estate agents. That's why you see a logo in the bottom right of the screen. It says Platform. Platform is my marketing agency. I'm the CEO. We have, I think, 22 full-time employees now. So it's not like just me, right? It is a full-blown online marketing agency. We specialize with working with realtors. What we've noticed over the last 4 years is that there's a very specific way you need to set up your marketing campaigns if you want to actually grow your business versus just generating leads, right? Because anyone can generate leads online. It's not really that hard to get leads from Google or leads from Facebook ads. So that's why we talk about agents that have actually doubled their GCI, right? Or in some cases, they've even tripled their GCI. I like talking about business growth and, marketing success in terms of actual GCI growth, because if it's not actually increasing your commission income, who cares if you're getting 100 leads every month or 200 leads every month, right? It's not about the number of leads you get. It's about how much your business grows. So that's what high hanging fruit is all about. And that's why I'm going to try to show you as many actual stories of realtors that have doubled their business as I can. In some cases, they've even tripled their GCI. That is the power of this high hanging fruit system because, as you'll learn here on the next slide, it basically is the opposite of what most agents have been taught their entire career. And so here's a quick video of Jonathan Garrick. Some of you may have seen this, but this is just like a 30-second video. And in this video, he talks about the difference that reading the book High Hanging Fruit made in his business. Like most agents, right? He's read all the books by Gary Keller, right? Like The One Thing, he's read Shift, he's read like The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. That's basically like the Bible for realtors, right? So he's read all the books by Gary Keller. He understands the importance of setting goals in his business, creating a vision, creating daily systems and all that. And that's great, right? But the problem is it doesn't really matter if you have business goals if you don't have an actual marketing system that's going to generate you the number of leads necessary to realistically hit those goals, right? So let's say you made like 130,000 in GCI last year, right? If you want to basically double your business and go from about 130 to, let's just say, 250,000 in GCI, right? To approximately double your business, you can't just set a goal and then hope it happens, right? You actually have to do something different in your marketing that'll generate you enough leads to where you can realistically hit that goal, right? So for him, reading the book High Hanging Fruit was kind of the missing link in his business because he had read all those books that, agents are supposed to read, but he didn't know the next step. He had set his goals and everything, but he didn't really know, how am I going to actually bring in the number of leads and I'll, need to call and follow up with so that I can realistically hit my goals? High hanging fruit was the missing link in his business that gave him the tactical, practical marketing strategy so that he could generate those leads.
Hi, it's Jonathan Garrick, real estate agent in Southwest Florida with Keller Williams Realty, and I'm here today to talk to you about the book High Hanging Fruit and the Platform System. And if you've ever read any of the books by Gary Keller, The One Thing, or The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, they give you the real big picture thinking on how to come up with a business plan and to grow your real estate business. This is the rocket fuel to that system to actually how to market your business and yourself effectively. So definitely, if you're interested in this book, pick up a copy and also contact Platform. It was one of the best business decisions I've ever made.
So again, everyone on this webinar is going to get a free copy of that book. If you're just joining us, everyone is going to get a free copy of the book. And so I'm going to show you one more video as we dive in here. This is someone who didn't actually double their business. This is Jose. He actually tripled, or he actually didn't even triple, he quadrupled his GCI. So this is the last video I'll show you here. This is just like a 15-second video, but Jose actually quadrupled his GCI after taking action on this high-hanging fruit marketing system. And one thing that's cool to note here is he doesn't have a big team either. So it's not like he quadrupled his GCI by building a team of 10 people or 15 people.
Hey guys, if you're still skeptical about high-hanging fruit, let's just break down the numbers real quick. In 2013, I did 25 deals. I then implemented high-hanging fruit platforms so that you know. In 2014, I went from 25 to 50 deals. In 2015, I went from 50 deals to 70 deals, baby. And now in 2016, I'm making over 100 transactions so that you know. And now that I have my team in place in 2016, just imagine what I'm going to do in 2017. Make it a phenomenal day.
So again, he actually quadrupled his business, quadrupled his GCI, but it's basically just Jose. I know that Jose has a full-time assistant and one other buyer's agent. So it's not like he quadrupled by building a team of 10 people or 15 people or 20 people. It's a very small, efficient team, which means that he's keeping the vast majority of that GCI to himself. You know, it's not being paid out to buyer's agents where like the revenue is really impressive, but the net profits aren't all that impressive. That's what happens to a lot of real estate teams where, you know, the gross number looks really cool, but once you actually look at what's kept in your pocket at the end of the day, it's not all that exciting. If you can keep your team small and efficient and double your business or triple your business or quadruple your business, then your business can grow pretty nicely. So as we dive through this webinar, guys, I just want you to realize that, again, I'm the author of High Hanging Fruit. I'm the CEO of Platform Marketing. Often what I do is like a broker or like a top producing team sometimes hires me to do a consulting day with them, right? And in these consulting days, it's usually about 7 to 8 hours. I'm going to try to pack that training in to 1 hour, right? So there's some stuff we won't get to, but I'm going to try to really cover everything that I can that I would normally do in a consulting day with a brokerage. I'm going to try to pack that into the next hour. So if you haven't already noticed, I talk fast, right? I'm going to try to cover a lot of stuff here. We're going to talk about the theory of high-hanging fruit. We're going to talk about what's wrong with the online marketing industry right now and why clicks on Google are making it so expensive to get leads from Zillow, Commissions Inc., Boomtown, you know, pretty much all those websites, why leads are more expensive today than they were, you know, a year ago. And I'm going to give you a solution of what you should be doing instead rather than buying leads, you know, from big companies like Realtor.com, Zillow, or even like realtor marketing companies like Curator, you know, Sync, Boomtown, right? And I'm going to even show you some specific ads that I would recommend that you run. So again, we're not talking about theory. I'm even going to dive into the specific ads. I'll give you the headlines. I'll give you how to target it on Facebook. I'll give all that to you. And then everyone is going to get a free copy of the book High Hanging Fruit. And at the very end of this webinar too, we have another special bonus. We'll give you a trial month of Platform Marketing where you can hire us to do all your marketing for you and set up all your ads for you and all that if you're interested, as a special bonus at the end. So very quickly about me, the first book I wrote actually wasn't High Hanging Fruit. The first book I published was Main Street Marketing. This book was not written specifically for realtors. It was actually just written for any small business owner, right? So whether you owned like a coffee shop or an auto dealership, you know, maybe you had a restaurant or you were a dentist or something. I wrote Main Street Marketing just for local brick and mortar small business owners, right? But what happened is some real estate agents read the book and they took action on some of the lead generation strategies that were in this book. And it worked so well specifically for these realtors that some of them actually contacted me and they told me about like how many leads they were generating. And I started to do some extra consulting with them kind of one-on-one, and their businesses just blew up at that point. I mean, that's where we had all these case studies where people were doubling their business. Some were even tripling. Jose quadrupled his GCI. And so with all that I learned in kind of consulting one-on-one with a bunch of these real estate agents who had read that book, I decided to write a new book entirely this one specifically written for realtors. So that's why I wrote the book High Hanging Fruit. It is a legit book. It's not like a 20-page ebook, guys. This is a 200-page book, okay? So it is a legit book written specifically for real estate agents. To my knowledge, it might be the only marketing book written for realtors. And so, of course, there's a bunch of books written for realtors, right? I know that you've probably all read The One Thing, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. Pretty much anything written by Gary Keller is a fantastic book, right? So there's definitely books written for realtors, and there's definitely marketing books out there, right? A lot of us have read books by Seth Godin, for example, Purple Cow, right? So there's marketing books and there's books written for realtors, but to my knowledge, there's really not any marketing books written for realtors, right? Until now. That's what High Hanging Fruit is all about. It's about building a marketing strategy that you can use for the rest of your career, and it's pretty much the opposite of what everyone has taught you for your entire career about marketing. And that's why it works so well, is because we're not just trying to do something that other agents are doing, and we're not just doing it a little bit better. You know, we're not taking something that all of your competition is already doing and then just trying to do it incrementally better, right? We're actually, High Hanging Fruit is about doing the opposite of what everyone else is doing. And that's why it works so incredibly well, even if you have a small budget. Because if you're doing something that's qualitatively different than everything else that's being done by other real estate agents in your market, even if you don't have a big budget, it's still going to work really well because there's no competition, right? So when I do consulting days, one of the very first things I talk about in a consulting day, if I'm consulting with like a brokerage or a top producing team, right, is we usually go through like, what are the 2 variables that you need to tweak to grow your business? What are the 2 variables that move your business forward? Just so we can get really clear right away on what it is that actually grows your business, right? So the 2 variables that you need to think about are, where are you investing your time and where are you investing your money, right? Most agents have been taught from day one in their career, you know, whether you've been an agent for 20 years or you've been an agent for 2 months, right? You've been taught to invest your time at the top of the funnel and invest whatever, you know, money you have, whatever advertising budget you have at the bottom of the funnel. So you invest your time at the top of the funnel, you invest your money at the bottom of the funnel. So like when I say funnel, you know, picture like the typical sales cycle, right? Or the sales funnel. It's basically this, you know, upside down triangle, right? It's this big funnel where it's widest at the top and it gets more narrow as you get to the bottom, right? So when you think of that sales funnel or sales cycle, right? You know, a bunch of leads coming at the top, you might get 100 leads. And by the way, you know, when you get to the bottom, it gets narrower and narrower. You might only convert 1 out of 100, right? That's the way that most agents teach it. So try to envision that sales funnel or that sales cycle in your head, right? Most agents are investing their time to generate leads. So the chief way that they generate leads at the top of the funnel is by investing their time, right? So they time block a couple hours every day to make cold calls, right? Like you might be calling expireds every day, or you call FSBOs every day. You know, maybe you got a subscription, you know, to like RedX or to Vulcan, or, you know, there's a bunch of services essentially that do the same thing, right? Where it gives you a fresh report every day of the most recently expired listings, right? Or a fresh list of for sale by owners that you can call, right? And you time block a couple hours a day to make phone calls, right? Maybe you have a dialer, like you have the Mojo set up, right? That's what a lot of agents do. The main way they generate leads is by investing their time, right? And that's great. And the problem is with that strategy is that it works. This is what most agents do. The problem is that it works, but it only works up to a certain point, right? Maybe they're not actually cold calling. Maybe they're you know, investing their time in other ways, right? Like you can invest your time by networking. You know, maybe you're in a BNI group and you're trying to network with other, you know, business professionals in your area just to get your name out into the community, right? Maybe you're really active at your kid's school, you know, and you're trying to volunteer as often as you can, or you're volunteering at church as often as you can, just to basically get your name out there, right? So when people think of real estate, they think of you, right? So again, most agents have been taught that the way to grow their business is just by investing time to generate leads, right? Maybe you make sure that you always personally sit all of your open houses on weekends so that you can capture all that walk-in traffic, right? Maybe you sit at the office so you get some walk-ins there, right? Most agents, again, are taught to invest their time to generate leads. So there's 2 variables that grow your business. There's how you invest your time and how you invest your money. Most agents invest their time at the top of the funnel generating leads. They invest their money at the bottom of the funnel buying leads. So whether they have, you know, $2,000 a month of advertising budget, maybe you have $200 a month in an advertising budget. Most agents invest their money at the bottom of the funnel buying leads, right? They'll buy leads from Zillow, or they buy leads from, Boomtown, or they buy leads from Sync or from Realtor.com, right? And the very phrase buying leads, by definition, that means it's low-hanging fruit, right? If a lead is to the point where it's essentially a commodity that's just bought and sold, like you're essentially buying someone's contact info, you're buying the name and email address and phone number, from Zillow, right? You're paying Zillow money and they send you leads with name, email, and phone number, right? If you're using the verb, hey, I'm buying leads, that by definition means it's at the bottom of the funnel. By definition means it's low-hanging fruit, right? So again, most agents are investing their time to generate leads by just putting in the hours, right? Making a bunch of cold calls or networking and stuff. They invest their money at the bottom of the funnel. I want you to do the opposite. So high-hanging fruit at its most essential level is about doing the opposite of what other agents are doing. So we're going to invest our money at the top of the funnel, building a marketing system and generating leads so that we can invest our time at the bottom of the funnel, which is the opposite of what most agents do, only following up with warm leads that our marketing system already warmed up for us, right? So let me say that again. We're going to do the opposite of what other realtors do. So we're going to invest our money at the top of the funnel. So we're going to stop, just buying leads from Zillow, Realtor.com, Boomtown, Sync, because that's where all the competition is, right? We're going to stop buying leads so that, right, we're going to build a marketing system that generates leads for us so that we will only ever have to invest our actual time following up with warm leads that our marketing system already warmed up for us. And so by doing this, you can typically spend maybe 45 minutes a day following up with leads, making your phone calls, responding to lead text messages, emails from prospects, right? You don't have to make 2 hours of cold calls a day. I've heard of some agents making 3 hours of cold calls a day. You can do 45 minutes of follow-up every day. And because you're actually following up with warm leads, people who actually signed up for your marketing system, they actually want to hear from you, you can accomplish more in 45 minutes a day than other agents will take 2.5 hours to do because they're cold calling, right? So because we're severing the link between your time and how much leads that you can contact, you can actually grow your business in a scalable way, right? The problem that most agents hit is if investing their time, which is what they've been taught their entire career, if investing their time is how they grew their business, eventually that's the constraint that prevents them from taking their business to the next level because they literally run out of hours in the day. Like if you want to grow your business and you've already been cold calling 2 hours a day, like what are you going to do? Cold call 4 hours a day? Like at a certain point, you have to leave some hours in the day to actually be a realtor, right? You can't spend all day just making outbound cold calls, right? So this strategy works well, especially if you're trying to break through a plateau in your business because it doesn't require you investing more of your time. It's more investing the mental energy to build a marketing system, right? Just one time. It's a one-time investment so that from now on, you never have to cold call. You never have to spend hours every day following up with leads. You don't have to hire an ISA. You can just spend 45 minutes of focused effort a day following up on warm leads, right? So this works especially well if you're on a limited budget, right? If maybe you're watching this and you don't have $2,000 a month, you don't have $1,000 a month, maybe you only have $100 a month to invest into marketing, right? This works especially well for you because there's no competition, right? There's no competition. When there's no competition, it means that the supply and demand works in your favor in lead generation. Because if you think about buying leads, you're the only buyer if there's no competition. So the cost per lead is really, really cheap. The ads I'll show you how to run on this webinar, guys, we typically can get buyer and seller leads for realtors for about $3 a piece. And so if you can get leads for $3 a piece, that means every $100 you spend, this is basic math, right? Every $100 you spend is going to bring in 30 plus leads, 30 leads, maybe even 35 leads, right? So imagine how quickly you could move your business forward if every $100 you spent on advertising brought in 30 leads or more, right? That means if you spend $200 on ads, you're going to bring in 60, 70 leads, right? It really isn't that hard. Here's what I'm getting to. It really isn't that hard to see how you could double your GCI if every $100 you spent brought in 30 leads, right? Because even with a low conversion rate, maybe you're not very good at converting leads, right? Even with a low conversion rate, that means that every $100 you spend, every $200 you spend on advertising brings a commission to you. You know, would you be willing to spend $200 on ads if every $200 you spent, you know, got you a $5,000 commission or got you a $10,000 commission? You know, that math checks out really nicely, right? So that's why I love the strategy, especially for agents that are on kind of a limited budget, is because the leads come in so quickly, right? And for such a little investment that even an agent that doesn't have a ton of money can grow their business using this high-hanging fruit strategy. The reason I want to show you this quick text message here is that this agent that sent me this is actually 19 years old. And so, you know, he followed up with the leads. He implemented this high-hanging fruit strategy. He got a couple leads, got pre-approved, $400,000. So he's pretty stoked about that. But he's 19 years old. And so if a 19-year-old kid can do this, right, basically just graduated high school, right? He's a licensed real estate agent, but he's 19 years old. If he can do this and he can take action and get results from this high-hanging fruit strategy, you can too, right? So in all the consulting I've done with Platform, and by the way, like you see that Platform logo in the bottom right corner, you might hear me say the Platform strategy, you might hear me say the high-hanging fruit strategy. I mean the same thing, right? So high-hanging fruit is the title of the book I wrote about this, and Platform is just the name of our company, our marketing agency, right? And so if you hear me say the Platform strategy or the high-hanging fruit strategy, those are just two ways of saying the same thing. So I mean the same thing. And by the way, at the end of the webinar, if you're interested, we are going to, of course, give you a free copy of the book, High Hanging Fruit, but also we're going to give you a trial month of Platform marketing where you can just hire us to do all of your marketing for you, set up all the ads and all that for you, and we'll give you a trial month if you're interested as a bonus at the end of the webinar. So the Platform strategy and the high hanging fruit strategy, I mean the same thing if I use those terms, right? So when I've done consulting with brokers and with teams, you know, for Platform, I've found that a lot of agents seem to hit a plateau right around 30 closings a year, right? So I know a lot of agents, you know, they get to 27 transactions, or maybe they closed 32 transactions or 33 transactions last year. You know, I'm not saying literally 30 on the dot, right? I'm saying maybe they closed 27, 28, 31, 34, whatever. But right around 30 closings a year, a lot of agents hit a plateau. And I thought that was interesting. And, you know, the first year I was doing this, I didn't know why. Like, I thought it was just a coincidence, right? But as it happened to more and more agents and the more people I consulted with, the more, you know, realtors hired us to do their marketing for them, the more I saw that this was not a coincidence. It was happening over and over and over again, where an agent would come to us and they were just stuck. They felt that they couldn't break through that plateau. And I realized the explanation was actually really, really simple. Most agents were running out of time. Like, they literally ran out of hours in their day once they hit 30 transactions a year, right? Because if you're doing, let's say, 32 closings last year, right? I don't even have to ask you. I already know that you probably are working 50 hours a week or more, right? I know for a fact that if you did 32 transactions last year, you're not working 20 hours a week or 25 hours a week or 30 hours a week. Like, you're not a part-time agent if you're doing 32 transactions a year, right? I don't even have to ask you that. I just already know that, right? And so it's not that you need to put more time in, right? Like, the problem is people hit a plateau because they literally run out of hours in the day to grow their business. If you're already doing 30 transactions a year and you're working 50 hours a week, what are you going to do to double your business, right? You can't just start working 100 hours a week. You know, oh, I'm working 50 hours a week and that equates to about, you know, 30 transactions a year. I guess I'm going to start working 100 hours a week so that I can double my business to 60 transactions a year. You know, it just doesn't work like that, right? It's not a linear relationship, right? So I know that agents don't work 30 hours a week. Most agents don't even work 40 hours a week. You know, it's like, oh, 40 hours a week. What do you do after Wednesday, right? Like, that's the joke amongst real estate agents, because all of us work 50 hours a week, 60 hours a week, right? So at 30 transactions a year, you're probably already working 50 hours a week. You can't just work more. You can't just work harder, right? It's not about more hustle in your business. That's like the popular word right now, right? Hustle, hustle, hustle. It's not about hustle anymore. It's not about working harder, working longer hours. If you're at a plateau probably around 30 transactions a year, or maybe you hit your plateau at 40 transactions a year or 45, because maybe you hired an assistant and that gave you a little bit more capacity, but you're still hitting a plateau. It's because you're running out of hours in the day, right? If time is the main way that you're generating leads, by making a bunch of cold calls, right? By networking, by investing your time to generate a pipeline of leads, time is going to be the exact constraint that prevents you from taking our business to the next level. So we have to sever that link between you investing your time and you generating leads. Because as long as there's a relationship there between, the time you invest and the number of leads that, that you can cultivate, it'll be literally impossible to grow your business because you run out of hours in the day, right? So we have to build a marketing system that exists independent of your time so that you're generating leads around the clock. And then the only time you have to actually invest is following up with warm leads, right? So if you do that, you can actually spend less time every day, making cold calls, less time following up with leads, and you can actually double your GCI. So here's another example of someone who actually quadrupled their business using this system. And then we're going to get into some of the specific Facebook ads I recommend that you run that'll get you leads for $3 a piece, in some cases even $2 a piece, so that you can take your business to that next level.
Hey guys, Paul Gillespie team at Keller Williams Gateway. Before I met Tim and implemented the platform marketing system, I was selling about 15 houses a year. I'm 3 years into it. The second year, I sold 25. This year, I'm going to sell 60, and then next year, our goal is to sell 100. So the platform system is a real deal. I could not have scaled my business so quickly without it. Thank you.
So again, that's Paul. He busted right through that plateau, went from 15 to 25 to 60 deals a year, but he actually works less now. So it's not like he just started working overtime and longer hours and nights and weekends and all that stuff. He actually works less, but he grew his business from 15, 25 to 60 deals a year, right? So hustle, just straight up hard work, can get you to 30 closings a year. If you're just willing to put in the hours, right? If you're willing to sit open houses every weekend, if you always call back your sign calls, if you ask your friends and family and your sphere of influence for referrals, if you do a really good job, you always go above and beyond, you answer your phone on nights and weekends, right? You just put in the time, right? As a real estate agent, most agents, just with straight up hustle, right? Just with sheer grit, hard work, right? Most agents can get to about 30 closings a year. The problem is, to get beyond that, you will hit a plateau because you run out of hours in the day, right? So to get beyond that, you have to build a marketing system, right? So it's not about hustle, it's about marketing, specifically lead generation. So let's dive in here to what I call the Google industrial complex. And this is why leads are so expensive now, whether you're getting your leads from Zillow, whether you're buying leads from Boomtown, Commissions Inc., YLOPO, Curator, Realtor.com, all these companies are essentially the same, right? So here's why the leads have gotten so much more expensive in the last year than they were, let's say, a couple years ago, 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, right? I call this the Google industrial complex, right? Because what you need to know right away is that you might think you're getting your leads from Commissions Inc. You might think that you're buying leads from Boomtown, or for most of us, you might think you're getting leads from Zillow, right? But you're not really buying leads from Zillow, right? Because you have to step back and ask the question, where is Zillow getting the leads, right? Zillow gets all the leads from Google, right? So you're buying the leads from Zillow, but Zillow got the leads from somewhere too, right? Zillow is getting most of their traffic to their website from Google pay-per-click, right? From SEO, people searching on Google, then they click over to Zillow, right? So if you're buying leads from Zillow, you're not really getting your leads from Zillow. You're getting your leads ultimately from Google. Zillow is just a middleman that's essentially a retailer for leads, right? They buy them at a wholesale price and then they mark them up and sell the leads to you at a retail price, right? So the business model of Zillow is essentially they're a middleman. They're a middleman for leads. They buy low, they sell high, right? And they're getting all their leads from Google. And it's not just Zillow. So I don't mean just to pick on Zillow, right? It's true of every single real estate marketing company. If you are buying leads, again, whether it's from Boomtown, Commissions Inc., Zillow, like Realtor.com, any of these companies, right? Their entire business model is essentially they're just a middleman for Google Ads. So they get the clicks from Google, and then they sell you those leads at a marked up price so that they can make a profit, right? I mean, obviously there's nothing morally wrong with this. That's capitalism. It is what it is, right? You just need to be aware of that like the business model for basically every real estate marketing company is essentially they're just a middleman for getting leads from Google. They get the leads from Google, they sell the leads to you at a profit, right? And so why you need to know this is Google has gotten a lot more expensive in the last couple of years, right? And if the clicks are more expensive, the leads are going to be more expensive, right? And so if the clicks are more expensive, the leads are going to be more expensive. Do you honestly think that a big company like Zillow, Realtor.com, Boomtown, do you think they're going to just eat that cost? They are not going to absorb that cost. They pass the cost on to you, right? So if the clicks are more expensive, they'll just sell you more expensive leads, right? They're not going to absorb that cost. They'll pass it on to you. And so that's why if you've been like buying leads on Zillow, let's say for the last like 5 years, I guarantee you the leads are more expensive today than they were 5 years ago, right? You might have been paying an even $1,000 a month, you know, so you've been spending the same amount of money every month for the last, you know, couple of years, but $1,000 a month today in March of 2018, you are getting way fewer leads than you were for that same $1,000 a month a couple of years ago, right? And it's not that long ago, right? So it's not that you can just say, oh, it's because of inflation, right? There hasn't been that much inflation in the last couple of years, right? It's because the fundamental supply and demand of clicks on Google has shifted. The clicks are more expensive and they're passing those costs on to you. Here's why that happened, right? If you look at the actual rate of home ownership in the United States, approximately the same number of people were buying homes 5 years ago as are buying homes today. Right. So it's not like way more Americans are buying houses today as they were 5 years ago. Like basically the same amount of people are searching for homes online today as they were 5 years ago. Right. So that really hasn't changed. What has changed is that in the last couple of years, there's been like an awakening of real estate agents that realize like, oh crap, I should probably stop wasting all my advertising budget in the newspaper or with radio ads or with billboards or direct mail or, you know, all the typical marketing avenues that agents have used, you know, for the last couple years and decades, right? And so what's happened over the last couple of years is there's been a shift. Agents have kind of finally woken up and realized, oh, I should probably be investing my money online because that's where people are searching, right? And so agents are pouring money into online marketing. That's why companies, you know, like Curator, Boomtown, Commissions Inc., obviously the big ones like Realtor.com, Zillow, they're way bigger companies than they were just 3 or 4 years ago, because there's so many more agents that are willing to buy leads online than there were 5 years ago. So it's really shifted the supply and demand dynamic of leads, right? So the same amount of people are searching for homes online as they were 5 years ago, but there's way more realtors that are buying those leads and they're bidding up the price of those leads, right? They're bidding up the cost per click. And so if the cost per click gets more expensive, of course, the cost per lead is more expensive. And so it's just a shift in supply and demand, right? We learned about this in like junior high economics, right? If the supply of people searching for homes is the same, but the demand for those leads goes way up. So if the supply stays the same and the demand goes way up, what happens? The price goes up, right? Very simple supply and demand. Again, you probably learned about this in middle school, right? That's what's happened. And that's why I call it like the Google industrial complex, is because we think of, you know, Zillow, Boomtown, Sync, Realtor.com, like we think of all these companies as being separate companies, but they're essentially all the same thing. They're just a middleman for ads on Google. And if Google gets more expensive, right, the leads become more expensive. And so that's why it's just so expensive now to, you know, try to build your business by buying leads, by buying low-hanging fruit, because you actually can't solve the problem by throwing more money at it, right? Because of the way online advertising works with like Google pay-per-click, right? If you just, if you're getting fewer leads now than you were a couple of years ago, and you're like, okay, cool, I'll just have to increase my ad spend. I'll have to spend a little bit more to get the same amount of leads that I was getting a couple of years ago. That actually makes the problem worse, because now you're just bidding up the cost of those leads even more, and then other agents will bid against you. And it's like a never-ending spiral. Like the cost per lead keeps getting bid higher and higher and higher. Because in the algorithm, how Google works is that it functions on an auction system. It's all about bidding cost per click. Who's willing to bid higher? If you bid higher, you'll get the leads and other agents won't, right? So it's a problem that you can't solve by just throwing more money at it. It actually gets worse if you think you can just throw more money at it. So we have to use a different marketing strategy entirely. And that's what high hanging fruit is all about. So now that you know the context of what's happening in the internet marketing, industry as it relates to realtors, now you know why high hanging fruit is really a necessity in your business and why it's going to work so well, because it's the opposite of what other agents do, right? Other agents are just fighting over that low hanging fruit, right? Low hanging fruit is any lead from Zillow, any lead from, Sync, Boomtown, right? Really any online lead that signed up at a portal, that's low hanging fruit, right? So rather than fighting over low hanging fruit, we're going to build an actual marketing system that generates leads for us that are high hanging fruit leads that are probably 2 months away. They're 3 months away. Maybe even they're 4 months away. So it is, like I said, March 14th right now, Wednesday, March 14th. If you build a proper high hanging fruit marketing system, you are going to be generating leads that probably aren't ready to go until May, and maybe some of them aren't ready to go until even June, right? But by doing that, you have a monopoly on those leads, because most agents don't even contact leads until the point that they get their lead from Zillow or they get the lead from Boomtown, right? And so if you set this up in March, you'll probably get a ton of leads that are ready to go in like May, and some of them are ready to go even in June, right? So you're building a pipeline of leads that are 2, maybe 3 months out, right? But by doing that, you have a monopoly on those leads, right? You don't have to worry about other agents cold calling them. You're probably going to be the only agent they talk to for the first month or two. So it gives you basically a head start, right, on other agents. So you get a head start on building a relationship with them, so that when they're actually ready to start house hunting, or if it's a seller, when they're ready to actually have you over for a formal listing appointment, they're not going to interview other agents because you've already earned their trust, right? That's what high hanging fruit is all about. It's about kind of intercepting those leads higher up in the sales cycle, so that when they're actually ready to go, there's not even like a decision to be made. They're not going to interview other agents. They're just going to work with you, right? So you're going to generate a lot more leads because the leads are cheaper, but you're also going to convert a higher percentage of those leads because there's no competition for converting them. It's not like when you call, 10 other agents are calling them the same day. You're probably the only realtor that they're talking to. So that's why this high hanging fruit philosophy is so effective, is that you have no competition. And so let's talk about some of the specific Facebook ads now that'll work to generate you some high hanging fruit leads, so that you can get the system set up, hopefully in the month of March, and you have some leads that are actually turning into closings by, the end of April or May, right? So when I talk about Facebook ads, when I'm doing trainings, usually the first thing I cover is the concept of value. And I know that everyone on this webinar, of course, knows what the word value means, right? But as it relates to lead generation, most of us have no clue, right? Most agents really struggle with lead generation, because the typical ad that an agent puts out is just their smiling face. It mentions like, hey, here's my phone number, here's my website, please call me when you're ready, right? I call this a business card ad, because most agents, if you actually look at their ads, it's basically just like the information that's on a business card. There's not really any call to action. There's nothing valuable to the person seeing it. It's just like kind of reminding people that you exist, right? There's no real call to action. There's no way of capturing their contact info. So you have to offer real value in your ads if you want to be able to generate leads, right? So before we even get into like the specific Facebook ads here, realize that what makes these ads work is that they actually offer value. If you offer value to people, it's pretty easy to get them to give you, their name, email, and phone number if you're offering them something valuable in return. The problem is that most agents aren't offering anything valuable in return. So of course, total strangers are not going to give you their name, email, and phone number, right? Because it's not a fair trade. I think of lead generation as just a trade, right? So if you have a pen, paper, please write this down. Lead generation is as simple as trading valuable information in exchange for someone's contact information, right? Lead generation is as simple as trading valuable information in exchange for someone's contact information, right? So lead generation is a trade. If you actually have something cool and valuable for people and you say, hey, I'll give this to you if you give me your name, email, and phone number, right? It's actually pretty easy to generate leads. The problem is most agents don't have anything valuable to offer, right? I mean, just be honest with yourself. Why are you on this webinar right now? Like if you're on this webinar, it is, check my phone, 10:56 a.m. Eastern time, Wednesday, March 14th, right? If you're on this webinar right now listening to me talk, it's because we offered you a free copy of the book, High Hanging Fruit. I mean, let's be honest. That's the real reason you're on the webinar, right? You wanted a free copy of that book. And when we asked you for your name, email, and phone number, you thought to yourself, well, I don't necessarily want to give these guys my contact information, but I do want a copy of that free book. I want a copy of High Hanging Fruit. And if all they're asking is that I give, you know, my contact information, then yeah, sure. If that means I get a free book, that's a fair trade. That's a trade I'm willing to make. Like you actually, at some point in the last 24 hours, like you consciously made that decision, right? Or else you wouldn't be on this webinar. By definition, if you're on this webinar right now, you thought that was a fair trade to give your name, email, phone number, you know, to get that free book and join us on the webinar this morning, right? That's the real reason you're on the webinar. We offered you a trade of real value, right? If you think back to when you were a kid, you know, maybe you traded dolls, you know, with your friends, or, you know, like Barbie dolls. If you were a boy, maybe you traded baseball cards with your friends, right? If you had like a Babe Ruth rookie card, you wouldn't trade that to one of your friends for some random baseball player that, you know, no one's ever heard of, right? If you had a Babe Ruth rookie card, you would only accept a trade if they were giving you a ton of value in return, if you actually thought it was a fair trade. Right? That's how you have to think about lead generation. You have to think, is what I'm offering valuable enough where people would be willing to click this ad and willing to give me their contact information knowing that I'm a total stranger to them, right? Is what I'm offering that valuable? And the answer is most agents are not offering anything that's valuable, and that's why they struggle to generate leads. We're kind of entitled in this regard where we think that, you know, just because we put our phone number out there or we put our website out there, we're kind of entitled thinking that people are just going to give us all their contact information, right? They're not. Like, guys, it's 2018. Like, the last thing that most people want is to be signed up for another email newsletter, another subscription list where they're going to get hit up with a bunch of emails, right? Or phone calls, right? So they don't want to be on your email list any more than you don't want to be on someone else's email list, right? So people are much more guarded in 2018 about giving out their email or giving out their phone number to some stranger on the internet, right? So if you're going to get someone's contact information, you have to deliver. You have to deliver something of real value, right? Look at how most agents generate leads right now in the real estate industry. Like 99% of leads that are generated by agents right now are using IDX websites, right? Where you get your IDX website, you know, from Boomtown or from Sync or, you know, from Curator, and you drive leads to your IDX website, right? Where they can search for homes on your website. And how most of these systems work is that there's a timer that goes off behind the scenes once they've been on your website for 30 seconds, or sometimes once they've viewed 3 or more homes. On the 4th home they're checking out, boom, they get a pop-up, right? And the pop-up says, to continue searching for homes, please give us your contact information, right? It basically forces you to create an account. It forces you to register if you want to keep searching for homes. It's like, you know, hey, what's your name, email, phone number, create an account, or else you can't keep looking for homes, right? The problem with doing that, and this is what pretty much every agent does, keep in mind, right? The problem with doing that is that that's not really a fair trade. That's more of like a hostage situation, right? That's not a fair exchange of value. It's not a fair trade. It's more like, hey, give me all your contact information or else, right? Give me all your contact information or else you can't keep looking at homes. It's more of a hostage takeover. It's not really a fair trade, right? Because like, put yourself in these people's shoes. They were just casually researching, you know, looking at some homes on your website, and then boom, you like forced them to give you all their contact information. The thing is, like, they don't need to give you their contact information. These people aren't stupid, right? They can go to Zillow or they can go to realtor.com and they can look at as many homes as they want, and they don't have to give their contact information to anyone, right? So it really shouldn't be that surprising that this is such an ineffective way of generating leads. It really shouldn't be that surprising that there's an epidemic in the real estate industry right now of fake contact information, fake leads, right? How many leads do you get where it's just a fake email address or a fake phone number, right? Where their phone number is like 111-111-1111, right? It's an epidemic right now in the industry where, you know, I talk to agents all the time who are getting a bunch of leads from, you know, Commissions Inc. or Boomtown, and they're like, yeah, like it, you know, there's a lot of leads, but the problem is half of them are fake. You know, half of them are fake email addresses, you know, fake names, fake phone numbers. It really shouldn't be that surprising that if that's the way that you're generating leads, by basically holding someone hostage and like tricking them into creating an account so they can view homes, like, of course, they're going to put a fake email address, a fake phone number, right? It really shouldn't be that surprising. So that most of these websites, just, you know, only convert about 2% of visitors. So all like the unique hits on your website, let's say that every day you get 100 unique visitors to your website, most of these IDX solutions are only getting a 2% conversion rate. So out of 100 people, you might get 2 leads, right? That's actually the average. And of those 2 leads, probably one of them is fake because there's so many of them are fake email addresses, right? Or fake phone numbers or fake names, right? And so when you do it that way, it's just a very ineffective way of generating leads because you're trying to trick people. You're not actually offering something of real value. So if you want to get real leads, if you want to solve that solution once and for all, solve that problem once and for all of, you know, fake leads, fake contact information, your Facebook ads have to offer something of real value. Something that someone sees the ad, they click on it, and they think, you know, I mean, let's be honest, like, well, I don't really want to give my contact information to that realtor, but I guess if they're willing to give me, you know, this free report or that video series or, you know, a free book, you know, yeah, then yeah, I am willing to give my contact information in exchange for that. So you have to offer something of real value. One of my favorite ads that I believe works to get a lot of leads because it offers real value. Here's a one example of an ad that we actually run right now for our platform clients, our platform realtors. We call it the Pool Homes Report. So here's a specific Facebook ad, guys, that you can run that is proven to generate leads. Usually the leads come in for about $3 a piece on this ad. So again, every $100 you spend brings in about 30 leads. We call it the Pool Homes Report. It's basically a Facebook ad that we run offering a free list of homes for sale that have a pool. And I know what you're thinking. It has nothing to do with pools, right? We're not trying to like specifically sell pool homes. The reason we offer a free report of homes with a pool is that it's kind of a stealthy way of getting listing leads. Because what we know with you know, running this as a Facebook ad is that anyone who signs up for a free report of homes with pools and they give us their contact information so that we can send them a free report of homes with a pool, anyone who clicks that ad and signs up, they're not just a buyer lead. It's not just someone who's wanting to buy a home with a pool. 99% of the time, just mathematically, these are listing leads too, because they're not a first-time home buyer. It almost never happens that someone buys a nice house with a pool as a first-time home buyer, right? Almost every time, if you're buying a nicer home with a pool, you're probably a move-up buyer. You're an existing homeowner and you're moving up to buy a home with a pool. So when you generate this lead as a realtor, right, like, yes, you will get to represent them on the buy side of them, you know, upgrading to buy a nicer home with a pool, but you'll also get a listing out of it because they'll have to sell their existing house. So that's kind of the real reason we run this Pool Homes Report ad, is that's kind of like a stealthy way to get both listing leads and buyer leads out of the same lead, right? So here's what the Pool Homes Report ad looks like. The actual Facebook ad, let's say you're in Nashville, Tennessee, right? The actual Facebook ad would say something like, "Attention Nashville. I have created a free report of homes for sale in Nashville that have a pool. To view the homes, click here." And you would create a website like, you know, www.nashvillepoolhomesreport.com, something like that, right? And you drive them to this landing page. So again, the Facebook ad says, "Attention Nashville. I've created a free report of homes for sale here that have a pool. Click here to view the homes. www.nashvillepoolhomesreport.com." And then on that landing page, you ask them, you know, for their contact information so that you know where to send the Pool Homes Report to. And this basically guarantees that they give you their real contact information, because it's kind of implied that, hey, if you put a fake email address here, you know, I'm not going to know where to send the link of all the homes. So they have to put a real, you know, their real contact information, or else you won't know where to send the Pool Homes Report to. So once and for all, that basically solves the issue of fake contact information because you're actually offering something of value, right? So that's what the Facebook ad looks like. And then like the Facebook ad itself will just have an image of a home with a pool. So if you're in Nashville, just take a picture of a home with a pool and use that as the image on the Facebook ad, you know. And then how we target it in the actual Facebook targeting is we'll usually target homeowners over the age of 30. Because keep in mind, we're not trying to target first-time home buyers with this ad. We're really trying to target existing homeowners that are moving up to buy a home with a pool, right? And so we target homeowners over the age of 30 in the Facebook ads targeting. Sometimes what we'll do too is we'll target college graduates. That can sometimes be a nice proxy metric. If you're trying to, you know, target people that are likely to be homeowners, likely to be listing leads. And so that's something I've used in the past too, is we use college graduates as the targeting just to increase the quality of the lead a little bit more for this pool homes report. But I love the pool homes report because it actually offers something of value. And the leads that come in are really high quality leads. You're going to get buyer leads and listings out of it. Again, it doesn't look like a listing ad. You know, what most agents have done in the past to get listing leads online is they run these dumb ads like, click here to find out how much your home is worth, right? And no one clicks on those ads anymore because like everyone knows that all you're trying to do as a realtor is get someone to type in their name, you know, their email address, their phone number, and their address so that you can, you know, try to get them as a listing lead, right? Those ads where you know, where it says click here to find out how much your home is worth for an, you know, an instant home valuation, right? People have wised up to that. Those ads don't really work anymore, right? And besides, like, you can't actually tell someone what their home is worth unless you actually go look at their home, right? Just knowing someone's address and number of bedrooms and bathrooms doesn't tell you anything about what their home is worth. Of course, you know, being ethical, like you would actually have to go view their home and check it out to really tell them what their home is worth. So those ads, I know a lot of agents were running those ads the last couple of years. Those don't really work anymore. And so the pool homes report does work to get both buyer leads and listing leads. And the cool thing is the leads come in for about $3 a piece, right? So again, every $100 you spend on that ad is probably going to bring in 30 leads or more, right? If you're in a market, because I know what a lot of you are thinking right now, if you're in a market like, you know, in the Midwest or maybe somewhere rural where you don't have a bunch of pool homes, right? Like maybe you're not in Texas or Phoenix or Florida, or, you know, maybe you're not in an area of the country that has a bunch of homes with pools, right? Maybe you're in like Fargo, North Dakota, or you're in Montana, or you're in, you know, rural Ohio, right? And you're in an area that doesn't have a bunch of pools, right? An ad that works really well for you guys would be an acreage homes report. And it works well for the same reason that the pool homes report works, is that if you run a Facebook ad offering a free report of homes with acreage, we're not trying to get land buyers. That would totally miss the point. That's not what we're trying to do. But if you run a Facebook ad of an acreage homes report, you know, offering a free report of homes for sale that have acreage, what you're actually doing is you're getting buyer leads and listings, because statistically, almost no one buys a property with acreage as a first-time home buyer, right? Almost always these are move-up buyers. They already own a house. So when you get the lead, you're not only going to get to represent them on the buy side, but you'll also help them list their existing house. So we use that acreage homes report. It works really well. The psychology is basically the same as the pool homes report, right? Where the Facebook ad says, you know, let's say you're in like, let's say you're in Wisconsin, you're in like Madison, Wisconsin, right? The Facebook ad would say, attention Madison, right? I've created a free report of all the homes for sale here that have acreage. To view the homes, click www.madisonacreagehomesreport.com. Right, so the ad basically looks the same. It's the same structure as a pool homes report ad. We target it the same way. We would do, you know, people that live near Madison that are over the age of 30 and are homeowners, or sometimes I'll do people that live near Madison that are over the age of 30 and have a college degree. And that's how we do the Facebook targeting of the ad. But we send them a free report of homes that have at least half an acre, or maybe a free report of homes that have at least 1 acre of land, right? And again, like, we don't really care what kind of house they're buying. It's not like we're trying to get people that want homes with acreage. The real reason you run this ad is because it generates real high quality leads that that also are probably listing leads, because we know that anyone buying a house with a pool or anyone buying a house with acreage probably already is a homeowner and they're a move-up buyer. So you're going to get a buy transaction out of it and the sell side, right? So there's a bunch more ads I can tell you about, guys, but we are pretty much out of time on this webinar. And so I have created actually a free PDF you can download here. Just go to platformmarketingpdf.com. And if you want to grab that, there's 5 more specific examples of Facebook ads that'll work to use this high-hanging fruit philosophy. These are ads that we use right now for platforms. So these ads I'm giving you, by the way, these are ads that we're running right now for our platform clients, for the realtors that hire us around the country to just manage all their marketing for them. So these aren't ads that I think like will work in theory. These are ads that we've already tested. We know that they work to bring in leads, right? So if you want 5 more examples of those ads, just go to platformmarketingpdf.com. Look, I'll give you a couple seconds to go grab that now if you're interested. Cool. So the real reason I have this slide on here isn't because I'm trying to capture your contact information, right? Because if you go to platformmarketingpdf.com and you download that, like, yes, we'll ask you for your name and email again, right? But that's not the real reason, because if you think about it, like if you're on this webinar right now, I already have your name, email, and phone number, right? To just get on this webinar and be eligible for the free copy of the book, High Hanging Fruit, you had to give us your name, email, and phone number already. So I didn't put the slide in here to generate leads, right? Because if you're on this webinar, we already have your contact information, right? The real reason that this slide is on here is just to prove my point. It's just to remind you that if you actually offer something valuable to people in exchange for their contact information, generating leads is really easy, right? Because I know that for a lot of you, like it would sound incredible to get a free template of 5 specific Facebook ads that are already written for you that already work, right? So you don't have to do a bunch of testing and waste a bunch of your ads budget on R&D, right? You just want 5 ads that you know already work that you can basically copy and paste, right? That's an incredibly valuable offer. And so if all we're asking for is, hey, what's your name and email? That's a really, really good trade. You would totally be willing to trade your name and email to get this free report, right? This just proves my point. If you actually offer something of value, it's actually really, really easy to get people's contact information, right? So if you're an agent and you're struggling with lead generation, the reason that you might be struggling or the reason that you're frustrated isn't because there's like a shortage of people out there that it's not because there's a shortage of people out there that are willing to give you their contact information. It's that there's really a shortage of realtors that are willing to offer anything valuable in exchange for someone's contact information. So again, if you've been frustrated by lead generation up to this point, maybe you know that you need more leads in your business, but you're just not quite sure how to generate more leads. The problem is not that there's a shortage of buyers or sellers out there that are willing to click on ads or that are willing to give their contact information, right? The problem is that there's a shortage of agents that are offering anything that's worth opting in for, right? Again, the reason you're on this webinar right now is because we gave a free copy of the book. You know, we used to run ads that, that just said, hey, sign up for a webinar, we'll train you about this high-hanging fruit strategy. And not many people signed up because that wasn't a valuable enough trade, right? So we started offering a free copy of our book with it too, and then tons of people signed up. So that was a fair trade, right? That's just something that we learned by experience. Like this webinar you're on right now, by the way, like just here's some inside baseball about how the stats look for this webinar. We ran an ad over the last 2 days to promote this webinar. We spent about $1,000 on the ad. We had about 200 people sign up for the webinar, right? So that means that, $1,000 spent, 200 leads around the country signed up for it. That means that our cost per lead is about $5. But we were targeting realtors across the entire United States of America, right? So if we have like a national ad campaign and we're still getting leads for only $5 a piece, imagine how cheap the leads would be. And imagine how many leads you would get if you're only targeting maybe a 5 square mile area in your market or a 10 square mile area, right? That's much more focused. Your leads, if you set this up right, are going to be a lot cheaper than $5 a lead. They'll probably be $2 or $3 a piece, right? So that's how the numbers worked out for this webinar that you're on right now. We spent around $1,000, got about 200 realtors to sign up to join us on this webinar. So this works well. The last reason here I'll mention is because you can actually build a relationship with your leads instead of, cold calling and hard selling them and, getting on the phone with someone and using like your script, to handle all the objections and everything. That's a very artificial way, I think, of cultivating converting leads. We want to actually just go old school, right? We want to build relationships with people so that you don't really think about converting leads. You just think about building relationships with people that are going to be buying and selling in your area. And the only way you can realistically do that is if you get to them early enough in the sales cycle so that, it's March right now. If someone's planning on, buying next week, they're probably already talking with multiple agents. Or if they opted in on Realtor.com or Zillow, there's probably 10 agents that have already called them, right? It's almost too late at that point. That's where all the competition is. We want the leads that are ready to go, in May or maybe even in June, right? Because if we can build a relationship with them ahead of time and kind of get a head start on all the other agents, by the time they're actually ready to get pre-approved, by the time they're ready to have you over for a listing appointment, you've already been talking with them. You've probably sent 10 emails back and forth or 10 text messages. You've probably already talked on the phone a couple times. You've built a relationship with them. And so by doing that, you can actually cultivate more leads at the same time because you're not being constricted by just cold calling hundreds of people every day. Here's an example of someone who did that. This is Brandon. He's in kind of the suburbs of Denver. And here's how this created a $400,000 listing for him, because he's actually able to generate leads that have relationships with him using this high-hanging fruit strategy.
In 2016, my team's going to do over 40 lead gen deals. It's not just all about the leads. We're walking up to a listing I have where the owner saw me in a retargeting campaign through a market update video, and now I've got a $450,000 listing. This whole high-hanging fruit marketing campaign strategy, it really works.
Nice. So again, that's Brandon. He's an agent in the suburbs of Denver. I always like playing that video to the very end where the dog barks, just because I think that's funny. But you can see you can see his sign in the yard, right? Like that's a real listing. He got over $400,000 because he followed this high-hanging fruit strategy. He built a relationship with leads. As I mentioned too, you can leverage this. Like you're not constricted anymore by just the number of hours you have in a day to make cold calls. If your marketing system is generating leads for you constantly, you only have to spend your time following up with warm leads, right? So your time, like the number of hours in the day that you're able to devote to like cold calling, that's no longer a constraint on your business. If you have a marketing system generating leads for you, all you have to do is follow up with warm leads, right? And that gets into my last point here before I give you guys a free copy of the book, High Hanging Fruit. My last point is basically just quality over quantity, right? It really doesn't matter how many leads you generate every month. Most agents using the platform system, if they hire us to manage their marketing for them, our average is about 200 leads a month, just so you know. So most of our agents are getting about 200 fresh leads every single month. And that's not like me cherry picking the very best. That's the actual statistical average. Most of our agents get about 200 leads a month, right? But the reason I don't talk about that a lot is because I don't want people to think of the number of leads as how they define success. Because ultimately that's not really what matters, right? What matters is how much has your GCI grown? Like how much money are you making, right? The reason you invest in a marketing system and you generate leads isn't just to brag to your other realtor friends about how many leads you generated, right? The number of leads inherently is irrelevant, right? What actually matters is how much has your GCI grown? How much has your business grown, right? And the only way your business will grow is if you have quality leads. Right? It's not the number of leads, it's the quality of those leads. So that's why in all the case studies and all like these videos I share with you, the agents aren't really talking about the number of leads that are coming in, because that's great, right? But like what ultimately matters is, could we double your business? Could we triple your GCI? And that's what these agents are after. They want to double their GCI. So the very last analogy I have, this is the last slide before I'll give you a free copy of the book, guys, is fishing upstream, right? And this is just a metaphor of how the high-hanging fruit system works, and I guess really why the high-hanging fruit system works, right? So let's say that you and some friends go to a river, right? And you're going fishing, and you cast your lines in, and you're all standing a couple feet away from each other because you're socializing, you're having a good time, you're fishing kind of just casually for fun, right? The problem with doing that, you might be having a fun time talking with your friends, but if all of your lines are cast in the same area of that river, it's essentially a zero-sum game. You're all fishing in the exact same area, right? So any fish that you catch is now a fish that your friend can't catch. Any fish that they catch, now you can't catch. It's a zero-sum game, right? For you to win, someone else has to lose, right? Because you're all competing over the same area of fish, right? What would happen if you walked 100 feet upstream? What would happen if you walked 100 feet upstream and then you cast your line in there? You would catch all the fish before they ever got downstream to where everyone else was. You would essentially be like intercepting all the fish before the rest of your buddies saw them. I mean, it might be cheating, right? But it would work so well, right? Because you would have a monopoly up there. You're not competing with any other lines in the water, right? You're fishing upstream. That's what high hanging fruit is all about. It's about fishing upstream in your market, going a little bit higher up the sales cycle, and generating leads and cultivating leads and building relationships with these buyers and sellers, building relationships with these leads 2 or 3 months before they're actually ready to buy or sell a house, so that when the time comes that normally they might go on Zillow and then they opt in and they get called by 12 agents within 10 minutes, before that would ever happen, you've already built a relationship with them, so they're not going to go on Zillow. You probably already have them set up on an MLS strip. You're sending them listings that might be, that they might be interested in. They're not going to interview other agents. They are your lead, right? So we're fishing upstream. That's what high hanging fruit is all about. It's about fishing upstream so you can generate more leads than all the other agents in your market. And actually, because you have no competition, you'll also convert a higher percentage of those leads too. So here's what's going to happen now, guys. I'm going to give you a free copy of the book, High Hanging Fruit, as promised, right? You'll get a free copy of the book. And then I'm going to show you a quick video of a realtor who used the platform system to grow his business. And when I say quick video, I literally mean it's like a 12-second video, right? So a 12-second video clip of someone who used the platform system to grow their business. And then I'm going to talk a little bit more about what this platform marketing system is, because as a special bonus on this webinar, in addition to giving you a free copy of the book, High Hanging Fruit, as an additional bonus on top of that, we're going to give you a trial month of Platform if you're interested. So Platform is a marketing agency. We can manage all your Facebook ads for you. We will set up all the websites, all the landing pages. We set up the email follow-up, text message follow-up. We can build retargeting campaigns for you on both Facebook and Instagram. Again, most of our Platform realtors get about 200 leads a month. That's the average. But more important than the leads, as I just mentioned, is it can double your GCI. That's the thing I really care about, is that our clients consistently actually double their GCI, right? So if you're interested, just as our way of saying thank you for joining us on this webinar, again, not only are we going to give you a free copy of the book, High Hanging Fruit, in a second, we're actually going to give you a trial month of Platform where you can sign up with us, no strings attached. There's no contracts or anything. You can try us on a trial month and have us manage and set up all of your marketing campaigns for you. So in the month of March and April, you can generate a ton of leads and hopefully get some closings by the end of April and May, and really have the biggest spring summer you've ever had in your career. So if you want to get a free copy of the book, High Hanging Fruit, here's how you do that. Go to www.highhangingfruitbook.com. All right, so if you want a free copy, go to www.highhangingfruitbook.com. Now I want to show you a quick video. This is that 12-second video, like I said. I mean, it's literally 12 seconds long. This is an agent in Alabama that worked with us, and even though we're only in March right now, he's already closed more GCI by March of 2018 than he did of all of 2017 because of this massive pipeline that Platform built for him. So again, even though we're only in March, he's already closed more GCI this year than he did in all of 2017 because he hired Platform.
I have a pipeline in 2018 that is as large as everything that I closed in 2017. What else can you say?
There you go. And what else can you say? That is Tom Douglas. Again, he's an agent in Alabama, and he was on this webinar that you're on right now last year, right? And he took action. He got signed up. He tried us on the trial month, and now his business is better than ever. You can see how busy that whiteboard is in the background. His desk is a mess because he has so many leads coming in, right? So that's a good problem to have. So again, if you want to get a free copy of the book High Hanging Fruit, just go to highhangingfruitbook.com. Just so everyone knows, it's not highhangingfruit.com. It's www.highhangingfruitbook.com, and there you can get a totally free copy of our book, no strings attached. So now I want to tell you about Platform and kind of explain to you how the details about how this trial month works. The first thing that you need to know, excuse me, is that Platform is very, very different from other marketing systems out there for realtors. So we're not like Boomtown, we're not like Commissions Inc., we're not like Curator, Ylopo, all these other companies, right? The thing that makes us different, that's very unique, is that we only work with one agent per city, right? So not one realtor per zip code. I'm talking about per city. So obviously in a city like San Antonio or Charleston, there's many different zip codes, right? But we only work with one realtor in all of the San Antonio area. We only work with one realtor in all of Charleston, South Carolina, right? It's one agent per city. And so we're much more exclusive than other real estate marketing systems. And so we only actually work with about 100 agents around the country right now. So if you want to get set up on a trial month, what you need to do is just go to www.platformmarketmap.com and just tell us where you live. That's all we're going to ask for. There's not some big detailed form or anything you need to sign up. Just go to platformmarketmap.com and just let us know where you live. And then we can get you set up on a trial month where in this trial month, we will create all your marketing campaigns for you. We will edit your videos. We will set up all the Facebook ads. We'll set up the email and text message follow-up so that hopefully you can double your business too. Here's an example of Crystal. She's a realtor in Mississippi, and she actually filmed this video in the very first month that she used Platform in the trial month. So the results she's going to tell you about here all happened in her very first trial month using Platform. Check this out.
Hi, this is Crystal Boggs. This is my first week with Platform. I started Tuesday about 4 p.m. By Wednesday, I had 3 buyers pre-approved. By Sunday, 1 was in negotiations, 1 under contract, and 1 still viewing homes. It was an amazing week. Thank you, Platform.
So again, all that happened in her very first month, in the trial month, using Platform, right? So if you want to get signed up on a trial month, check out www.platformmarketmap.com. Again, we only work with one agent per city. So the reason that we ask you to go to platformmarketmap.com is because we need to find out if you're in a city that we already have a client or if your market is available, right? I mean, we're only working with about 100 realtors right now, around the country. Obviously, there's a lot more than 100 cities in the United States. And so chances are your market is available, right? But just to make sure, to get you set up on the trial month, all you have to do is go to www.platformmarketmap.com and just let us know where you live. So you go there and you tell us, hey, I live in Nashville, or I live in Boise, Idaho, or I live in Salt Lake City, or I live in Boston, or I live in Madison, Wisconsin, right? Just tell us where you live. That's all you have to do. It'll take you like 10 seconds. In the time I've been talking about it here, you could have already done it. So to get set up on a trial month, if you want us to handle all of your marketing for you, we'll set up everything for you in this month. We'll create all your Facebook ads. Most people in their trial month get about 100 leads, just so you guys know. So in this trial month, you will get probably about 100 leads, sometimes even more, but you for sure will get 100 leads in your trial month. Just go to platformmarketmap.com to get that set up. Here's another cool video. This is Rob Warwick in North Carolina, and he actually added over 100K in GCI to his business from Platform in the first 6 months. So it didn't even take him a year to add over 100K to his GCI, specifically from Platform. Platform added 100K in GCI in less than the first 6 months that he used this high-hanging fruit platform system. So here's Rob's story.
I want to talk really quickly about my experience with Platform. Been with him for about 6 months. We've added about $100,000 to my GCI, plenty of leads for next year, and really, really powerful stuff as far as what Tim's able to do. And if you're on the fence about the marketing, quit questioning it. It's well worth it. The team and Tim are great to work with, so I have no complaints, and we're looking for a better 2018, even though this year's already been a really, really productive half a year, really, with Platform and the whole company.
Awesome. So there you go. Like, I mean, the numbers don't lie, right? Again, like the reason that usually I talk about GCI rather than leads is because that's ultimately what we're after, right? You want your GCI to grow. You want more money in your pocket. You don't just want a bunch of leads. You want your business to grow. So if you want to use the same marketing system that Rob used, again, you can get set up on a trial month right now. No strings attached. We have no contracts either. So you're not locked in, you know, for a year contract or a 6-month contract or even a 90-day contract. Platform is totally month to month. We don't have any contracts whatsoever. And so we're going to give you a trial month and there's no contracts. So there's basically no risk, right? Go to platformmarketmap.com. Here's another example of an agent that added over 100,000 to their GCI. This is Taylor Cresswell. He's only 25 years old and he added over $100,000 to his GCI.
Hey Brandon, it's Taylor. I'm a real estate agent down here in Tampa. I'm 25 years old, and before I started joining with Platform, I made just under 40 grand, around 35. Last year in 2017, I closed over 7 million, made over 150 grand, and next year it's the $250,000 mark. I need to hit over 250. I definitely think that's Platform.
Awesome. So again, it's www.platformmarketmap.com. Here's a quick video actually that Mitch produced that kind of shows how we're different from other real estate marketing companies. Again, because we only work with one realtor per market. So it's not one per zip code, it's literally one per market. So if you're in like Memphis, for example, you don't just get one neighborhood of Memphis. You don't get one suburb of Memphis or one zip code of Memphis. You get the entire greater Memphis area. If you're in Tallahassee, Florida, you get the entire Tallahassee area. If you're in Fargo, North Dakota, you get the entire Fargo area. So we're set up very, very differently from other marketing companies because we know our ads and the marketing strategy works a lot better if there's only one agent in the entire city doing it versus what these other companies do, you know, Sync, Boomtown, Curator, right? There's probably 10 or 20 or 30 agents in your town that are running the exact same ads as you, right? That have the exact same website as you, right? And so it just doesn't work that well if you're doing the exact same marketing as all the other agents. Right? So that's why we only work with one realtor per market. And it's a huge reason that we have so many case studies of agents that have doubled their business or, you know, in some cases, even tripled their GCI is because they're the only agent in their entire city that's doing marketing like this. So here's how it works.
4 things you need to know before hiring a marketing company. First, make sure that your marketing company isn't working for your competition. Many companies like Zillow, Curator, and Boomtown are simultaneously working with dozens of agents in the same market. This helps them make more money, but it's not what's in your best interest. Second, make sure your marketing company is actually generating leads for you. Many companies are really just website companies. To succeed in a world of social media, you need more than a website. You need actual leads. Third, make sure you set aside time to call your leads as soon as you can. A Harvard study showed that if you call a lead as soon as they come in, they are 7 times more likely to qualify than even waiting 1 hour. Fourth, if you can't call your leads right away, make sure that your marketing sends a text message to the leads. Maybe you're on a listing appointment and you can't call a new lead that comes in. Text messages have a 98% open rate, yet most agents aren't texting their damn leads. The perfect marketing company would help you generate leads, convert leads, and it would be exclusive. What if a marketing company did all of the above and it only partnered with one real estate agent per city? Sounds crazy, right? For more information, check out platformrealestate.com.
Again, so go to platformmarketmap.com if you want to get set up on a trial month, right? Here's a video of an agent we work with in Texas, and she actually added $175,000 to her GCI. So not just $100,000, her business actually grew by an extra $175,000 in GCI a year above and beyond what she was making before Platform, right? So I asked her to film this video actually specifically so we could use this as a slide on these webinars, because I asked her, hey, what would you tell a realtor who is thinking about trying Platform, who is thinking about like signing up for the trial month? What would you tell them now that you've been working with Platform for a while and seen the results? Like, what would you tell an agent on this webinar who's thinking about, you know, signing up at platformmarketmap.com? Like what would you tell them about your experience with Platform? So here's what she said about the trial month.
It's Danny. I am a realtor in Texas. If you're watching this, it's probably because you're interested in the Platform trial month. I have to tell you, you would be crazy not to take them up on that. When I started with Platform about 18 months ago, I didn't get a trial or any kind of discount, but it has hands down been the best investment I ever made in my business. When I first started with them, I was doing about probably 100,000 in income, so about a little over about 4 million.
So I want to stop her right there. Realize she was already pretty successful, right? She was already making about 100,000 in GCI. The problem was she was hitting a plateau, like I talked about earlier in the webinar. She was hitting a plateau and she couldn't bust through 100,000 in GCI. She'd had like 3 years in a row where she made about 100K in GCI in all of those years. Platform is what helped her break through that plateau, and she grew from about 100,000 in GCI to nearly 300,000 in GCI.
In income, so about a little over about 4 million in GCI, or excuse me, in production. Now, today, after being there a little over a year and a half, I have doubled, almost quadrupled that, and will do about 275 in GCI this year. I've actually hired my first buyer's agent. I also have a part-time administrative person. So it's just been a really good decision, and to be able to try it out for a discounted price is awesome. And I wish I would have gotten to do that. But, you know, I still made an incredible return on that investment. So I definitely would highly recommend it.
Awesome. So there you go. She grew from 100,000 in GCI to about 275,000 in GCI. And again, she doesn't have a huge team. So that growth isn't because she like recruited, you know, 3 agents or 4 agents or 5 agents. That's all going to her pocket. So it's actually net profits, right? So if you want to get set up on a trial month of Platform, it's www.platformmarketmap.com. Here's another video of Michelle. These are the results that Michelle experienced in her very first month using Platform. I showed this video actually earlier, but I want you to watch this now with more understanding and context of what Platform is. Because I know the question a lot of people are asking right now, or that a lot of people are thinking right now in your head, right? Is like, yeah, it all sounds great, but how quickly does it actually start working, right? Because we've heard you talk about high-hanging fruit this, high-hanging fruit that. Well, I can't wait until June or July or August, you know, to get closings. I need some closings that convert right away. So I know what you're thinking. How quickly does it actually start working? Like if I sign up for a trial month right now in March, you know, how quickly would it actually start working for me? Here's your answer.
Hi, this is Michelle Jones from Tennessee. I joined the Platform webinar. I signed up, and my results for the first 10 days are that the 2 new listings ads that I ran with Platform, I got both under contract in the same day. I also have 5 active buyers that I'm currently working with now, and I also have obtained 3 new listings.
So that all happened in her very first trial month, in the trial month using Platform. So to be really clear, the trial month isn't like a setup or onboarding period, right? The trial month, you will get 100 leads in your very first trial month using Platform. So it's you know, March 14th right now. That means by April 14th, right, you would have at least 100 new leads you're following up with. So this works right away. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't take a couple months to warm up and get dialed in and get going. It works basically right away, right? So this is one of my favorite videos to show you. If you're thinking about hopping off right now, I would stick around and watch this quick video. All right, this is only about a minute long. It's maybe my favorite video I show you on these slides. And this is a video of a client we work with in San Antonio, right? And what she's gonna say here is really different from all the other videos I've shown you, because we added about $7 million to her business. So she's added about 7 million in volume, which is about, you know, 200,000 in GCI, which is pretty awesome, right? It's pretty awesome to have a case study of a realtor who added 200K in GCI. What's even cooler though, and what makes this different from the other videos that I showed you, is that she's actually working less now. So she added 200K in GCI, and she's not even working the same amount of hours. She's actually working less now, and her husband, who's an engineer, their family is now making so much more money that it made sense for her husband to quit his engineering job so they can all spend more time together, right? I mean, obviously, an engineering job pays a pretty decent amount of money. So the fact that her husband could walk away from that engineering job and it made financial sense for them, that's how much her business has grown. So she's grown her business by that much, and she gets to spend more time with her family. So that's the power of platform.
Hi, I'm Danny Springfield in San Antonio. My platform story starts, I've been in business and real estate for about 5 years. When I signed up, I was plateauing at about 13 to 15 million a year. I had another agent on board with me, but I knew that we could get a little bigger and do a little better. Most importantly, I wanted to do that in a scaled fashion. So signing up with Platform enabled me to build my business to about $20 million a year, but where I'm spending more time, I have 3 little kids, where I'm spending more time with them. My husband actually left his engineering job to join my team, and that has been such a godsend for our family. Our quality of life has increased dramatically, and we owe a lot of that to Platform. The biggest change has been the quality of leads, so you're not spending all your time chasing ones that aren't very good, and maybe even most importantly for me, has been that Platform, it gets me in front of my sphere for referral business so easily with very little effort on my part. So I'm a happy client. I'm happy to answer any questions you have, and I'm really just thankful to be part of the Platform family. Thanks.
So again, if you want to use the same marketing system that Danny has used to add an extra 7 million in sales volume to her business, you can get set up on a trial month at www.platformmarketmap.com. Again, that's Danny Springfield. She's one of the top real estate agents now in the entire market of San Antonio. And you can use the same marketing system that she's using at www.platformmarketmap.com. We'll get you set up on a trial month. The reason I want to show you this video is just to show you that Platform works in basically any market around the country. So this is Jeff Downing. He's a realtor up in Iowa, right? And he's going to talk about the results that he got in his very first trial month with Platform, right? So these results that Jeff is about to share with you didn't take him 6 months, or it didn't take him even 3 months. All of these results came in his very first month using Platform, right? The very first month. Notice there's a cornfield behind him. He's in Iowa, right? I wanted to show you this video because like Platform works in big cities, it works in small towns, it works in suburbs, it works in farm towns, everything in between, right? So Jeff's up in Iowa. Here's the results that he created in just 30 days. So 30 days from now is April 14th. You could have results like this by April 14th if you get set up today on a trial month. It works right away. So platformmarketmap.com.
Guys, Jeff Downing here. I'm in Des Moines, Iowa. As you can see, the corn's growing right behind me, so I am definitely in Iowa. Just hit my 30-day anniversary with Platform, and I want to share with you some of my successes. First campaign, first night it's going, and wake up, my phone's got a full contact lead. Name, number, address, and then down at the bottom, the most beautiful thing in the world says, yeah, I'm looking to buy a house in the next 90 days. We were able to get their home listed and get them upgraded in house. Both those houses went pending just last weekend, which is about $14,000 in GCI off my first day in my first month here in Platform. Also had a call, hey, love your video. We're looking to sell our house and upgrade. So just last night was on a listing appointment for $425,000. That's an at-bat I would not have had without Platform. I've also added literally hundreds of contacts into my drip campaigns and into my SOI. So that's been really, really cool. Finally, I love talking to my account administrator once a week. David, if you're out there, man, you're the best. Love chatting with him every Monday. We can look at the effectiveness of the...
So what he's talking about there when he says that he chats with David every week is another thing that makes Platform very different from other marketing systems out there is that we coach you too. And it's not a group coaching call where it's not like a webinar with 100 other agents on it. All of our Platform clients, all the realtors that hire us around the country, we do a one-on-one personal phone call with them every single week, right? So you actually have a personal account manager that's assigned to managing your Facebook ads. They set up your ads. They even edit all of your videos for you. And you talk with them on the phone at a scheduled time every single week. So once a week, you get a personal phone call with us. Again, it's a one-on-one phone call. It's not a group coaching phone call. It's a one-on-one phone call with us. And so we have a very intimate relationship with our clients, right? It's not like, when you sign up, for leads on Zillow, or you start buying leads from Boomtown or something, right? And you probably never talk to them again until you call them to quit 3 months later or 6 months later, right? We actually talk on the phone with our clients every single week because we're coaching you through how to best follow up with the leads. We give you tips on filming videos, but you talk with us on the phone, a one-on-one personal coaching call every single week, and that's just included with Platform. I mentioned too, we also edit all your videos for you. So any videos you film, like a market update video, listing video, we will edit all the videos for you and publish those videos on YouTube and on Facebook for you. And so your account manager does all that for you. So in addition to setting up all your Facebook ads and the landing pages and the retargeting campaigns and all this for you, we even edit all of your videos for you. So hiring Platform is basically like hiring an entire marketing department. Pretty cool.
So that's been really, really cool. Finally, I love talking to my account administrator once a week. David, if you're out there, man, you're the best. Love chatting with him every Monday. We can look at the effectiveness of the ads, my ad spend, and he's also helped me with scripts, when to call back, what to say, email returns. Just get rejuvenated to start the week after talking with David every Monday. So that's been my experience with Platform. If you want to know more, please look me up.
Awesome. Again, that's Jeff Downing. He is a realtor up in Iowa. But all the results he talked about there happened in the very first 30 days he was with Platform. So I want to be clear on that when we say trial month, we're not saying that, hey, the first month we kind of just get stuff set up and we slowly get it dialed in and maybe it takes 2 or 3 months to get results. No, you get results the very first week. You will have leads coming in. Most agents, even in their very first trial month, they get over 100 leads in the very first trial month. So to get set up on that, all you have to do is tell us where you live. That's it. So if you're in like Louisville, just go to platformmarketmap.com and let us know that you're in Louisville. If you're in, St. Louis, go to platformmarketmap.com. Just say, hey, I'm in St. Louis, right? That's all we're asking for because we're just trying to make sure that we don't already have a client that we're working with in your city, right? So just go to www.platformmarketmap.com. Here's one of my favorite videos, actually. This is Justin Liller. Justin is in like a high-end luxury town where most of the homes he sells are actually $1 million or higher, right? And Justin was kind of skeptical that Platform was going to work for him in his market just because of his market isn't like most markets. It's like a lake town and lots of cabins, are 700,000 or 1.2 million or 1.5 million dollar homes. And Justin has actually tripled his business since he signed up for Platform, even in like a luxury lake town like that. He's tripled his business. And so I'm the CEO of Platform. So this is Tim Chermak speaking right now. I'm the founder and CEO. And so I take this really personally. Like, this is really cool to me. I take a lot of pride in what he says here because he actually says in this video that hiring Platform to do the marketing for my business was the best business decision I've ever made. So he says it's the best business decision he's ever made. I take a lot of pride in that, and I think it's really, really cool that agents are having that much success with Platform. It's the best business decision he's ever made.
Hey guys, I'm Justin Liller with Rayleigh Realty at Deep Creek Lake, and I want to share my experience so far since joining Platform. Back in January, I flew down and met with Tim, and he showed me kind of the basics of Platform, which I implemented right away and saw some pretty good success with. So at the end of May, I became a full Platform family member. So it's been a little more than 30 days, maybe 40 days since I joined Platform, and I've seen some really incredible success. I'm picking up between 4 and 6 full contact information leads per day off of the ads that I run on Facebook. I can directly relate 3 listings back to my Platform ads that I've been running. They range anywhere from $150,000 to $800,000. I have had 2 closings from that, $175,000 closing and another at $850,000. And then I have a property under contract with some folks that opted into one of my ads at $1,550,000. So, it's an incredible, incredible value that they offer at Platform. The return on investment is going to be absolutely huge. And I could not recommend joining Platform anymore. Like it has been by far the best business decision that I have ever made. So I've been implementing the Platform strategy since January, but only been a full Platform member since the end of May. And as of last Friday, I had 2 closings last Friday. As of last Friday, for 2017, I've already exceeded my GCI that I had in 2016. So I have no doubt that this is going to become my best year ever. And I think that, you know, if you follow the strategies that they talk about, it could be anybody's best year ever. You've got to film the videos, you've got to do the follow-up, and the buyers and listings will come. You know, it's been incredible. Over the holiday weekend, I had 5 people walk up to me and say, "Hey, you're that guy from the Facebook ads, the videos. I watch all your home tours. I love it." And you know, it's that kind of stuff that maybe doesn't show up in your GCI right away, but over time it will, because people are gonna, you know, when they're ready to buy, they're only gonna think of you because you've built that trust and you've given them something to watch while they're bored at work or sitting at home, and they absolutely love it. So anyway, I can't thank Platform enough. I couldn't be happier. And if you're on the fence about this, just do it. You're not going to regret it. Thanks a lot.
Awesome. So I'm going to show you another video here, guys. I'm going to skip ahead. Like, we have so many of these testimonials that I could show you, but I don't want to spend 4 hours showing you all the case studies that we have here. This is someone in Louisiana. This is someone in Hawaii, so it's working in Louisiana. This is Micah, he's in Hawaii. This is Justin, he's in Texas, in College Station, Texas. He had a month last year where he closed $40,000 in GCI in just 1 month from the Platform leads he generated. This is Rodney, he's in Wichita. This is Amy Signor. She was the top producing agent at her Keller Williams franchise out of, like, I think 300 agents. And she was a brand new agent last year. So she wasn't even an agent 2 years ago. And within her first year using the Platform marketing system, she's now the top producing in an office of like 300 agents. So that's incredible. This is a video I want to show you. This is Brandon again. He's the agent that I showed you earlier in kind of the Denver suburbs. Brandon actually goes behind the scenes here and shows you his office. You can see his whiteboard and everything of where the deals are coming from and where that high-hanging fruit pipeline, like what that actually looks like. He'll show you his office and you'll see all the deals on there. The whiteboard doesn't lie. I mean, you can see how many deals he has lined up in his pipeline because of the Platform marketing that we're doing for him. So he'll do over 40 deals this year just from Platform, right? So on top of all the other business that he gets from like his sphere of influence and open houses and like referrals and stuff like that, he'll do 40 transactions just from Platform. So that's an average, obviously, of an extra 3 deals every single month just from Platform marketing. So watch this video and watch till the end where he shows you the whiteboard. It's cool because like the numbers don't lie. The whiteboard doesn't lie.
I was first introduced to the whole online lead platform system, I was skeptical. Now, a year later, we're closing 40 deals in 2016. This is all due to the online marketing platform. For example, we have our buyers meet us in this building, which gives us instant credibility. Because when you meet somebody on the internet, you never know if they're real or not. So when you come to a building like this, people come in here, they want to work with you, they realize you're real, and then you sign them up as a client. Come with me to the office. For example, we are closing 11 deals in June alone, totaling over $4.5 million. That is an incredible number, and about half of that came directly from the platform system. Now over here is the stuff you can't fake. This is our pipeline. This is ready buyers who've been pre-approved. They want to go searching, they want to go shopping, and they want to buy a home. 50% of these guys are all coming from our platform system, and it's proven the high-hanging fruit mentality, the system, the platform leads, it really does work, and it's real.
So again, I mean, the numbers don't lie. Like, look at all those closings he has coming up because of platform. So if you want to get set up, again, it's www.platformmarketmap.com, and we'll get you set up on a trial month of of platform. So this is the last video I'm going to show you guys here today. This is a video of Debbie Kaler. She is a realtor in Minnesota, and this is my all-time favorite case study we've ever had, because frankly, it's like too good to be true. Debbie was broke before she hired Platform, had no money, and she actually took out some money out of her like retirement savings and like used that last bit of money she had to hire Platform so we could generate some leads for her so she could grow her business, right? But when I say she was broke, I mean it. She was broke. The very first Facebook ad that we set up for her was actually an ad to help her sell a listing. It was her own house because she couldn't afford to live there anymore. She was behind on the payments and the bank was about to foreclose on her house. And so that's how bad things were. Like she had been a real estate agent for a long time, but the market dried up and she wasn't really doing any marketing to generate leads. She had relied too much in the past on just referrals. And when the market kind of slowed down, it dried up, she had nothing to fall back on. And I mean, it got so bad where she didn't have money to make the mortgage payment. She was about to lose her house. And so she hired Platform. And now her business has grown so much that she's now the top producing agent at her brokerage in the entire state of Minnesota. She, went from almost losing her house to she bought a brand new Jeep, bought that brand new Jeep SUV. She bought a brand new $500,000 lake home on a lake in Minnesota. And, business is doing better than it ever has been. And it's because of Platform. Like that's the difference that Platform made in her business. So all that being said, I totally know that it sounds like cheesy. It sounds too good to be true. Because honestly, it's like a rags to riches story. But this is the power of Platform. I was so impressed at how much her business grew that we actually hired a documentary film crew and we paid to fly them out to Minnesota so they could film her story and create a documentary about it. So that's what this clip is. This is a clip from that documentary about the Platform marketing system and the difference that it made in Debbie's business. So now she's the top producing agent at her entire brokerage in the state of Minnesota. Here's Debbie's story.
So I love this car. I've always wanted a Jeep Rubicon, always. Never thought I'd be able to get one, especially that I could just write out a check for, actually. But I was in Platform for about 6 months when my other car actually blew up, and I just kind of thought, what am I doing? I can afford what I want. So drove onto the lot with that wreck and drove off with this Rubicon with only 6 miles on it, which was a fantastic day.
And so I want you to meet Debbie Kaler. The Platform strategy literally rescued her career. After the housing market crashed, she was struggling to make a living. Now she's driving a brand new car, bought a new lake home, and business is better than ever. Her story is just incredible. So I'll let her share the details. This is the power of the Platform strategy.
Hi, I'm Debbie Kaler. I'm a realtor in a very small town in west central Minnesota. Population just a little over 2,000. So it's a tough market. We have a lot of agents around here. In fact, I would say we are saturated because everybody for some reason thinks that real estate is the fast, easy money, easiest thing you can get into. So I got into real estate in 1990 and always did pretty well, probably in the top 10, 15, and then the market crashed. And being a single person, that was tough. I ended up losing my house, my car, pawned all my jewelry. I literally had nothing left other than the clothes on my back.
So, as I said, Debbie's story is one of the coolest Platform stories I've ever heard. After 20 years in the business, things were so slow, she was about to quit real estate entirely and find a new career. She was applying for jobs around the country, just trying to find something to pay the bills. And then she discovered Platform.
So thinking this is it, I have to get out of real estate permanently, even though I loved it. They found out my story and they said, we have this young guy that does marketing for us, you should give him a try. So I was desperate and I decided, all right, I'm going to meet him. It turns out his name is Tim Schermack. And he came over and talked to me and started telling me about Platform, and I thought this is entirely too good to be true. There's no way anything is that good that's going to take me from about being homeless, literally homeless, to actually being able to stay in this business and make it. but humor me, I'll listen to him. So I made him. He gave me the good sales pitch. Out of frustration, I hired him. And only because that day in the mail, the very last check had come from my retirement account. Very last check. And I knew it wasn't going to carry me through anyway, so what's the big deal? I might as well gamble. I threw it at him and said, all right, big talker, you think you can do this? Do it. I bet it was 3 weeks later, leads started to come in like crazy, and they started rolling in. I'm not kidding. And pretty soon I didn't have time for that other job I took. I was back into real estate. And here we are 2.5 years later. And I went from number 47 in my association up to number 2.
So Debbie went from having no money, literally losing her home, to being the number 2 agent in her entire association. I love this story. It's such an authentic example of the power of platform. The entire community noticed how quickly Debbie built her brand. Remember, building your business is as simple as building a list of people who trust you. Not just a database, but a list of people who trust you.
So one of the fun things with platform was I had so many friends say, you know, when the market crashed, we thought you were done. That was it. We thought your business was going under, that you were done, no more Debbie. And it's like you came back with a vengeance. All of a sudden we see videos all over the place and your signs are going up all over the place. And now you're really showing other people how it's done. I actually had a couple of my competing agencies come and try to recruit me with their company. So it's like, no, I turned them down. I mean, they're like, don't you want to work for, and then they'd say their name because they're bigger names in the area. I don't have a big name. You know, Lakes Area Realty, Debbie Kaler Real Estate. You know, I don't have the big banners, the big balloons, anything like that. And it's like, you know what? I don't need you. I'm doing fine on my own. They didn't like that very well, but I've pretty much buried most of them, which is a great feeling. And it's all because of platform. I went from, said, bottom of the barrel, thinking that I was going under, to a place I never thought I would be. And it's because of the marketing. And that happened rather quickly. Actually, I would say within 3 months, people started to make comments about, wow, you came back strong. And by 6 months, it was, wow.
Amazing. So let's take a behind the scenes look at Debbie's office and get a feel for what her daily routine looks like when the leads are flowing in.
So I just want to give you a behind the scenes look at what platform has done for me. Just in this last week, I've gotten 3 pages of leads. The ones that are crossed off are the ones that I've actually come in contact with, I've had phone conversations with, or even met them for coffee. I've got 2 listing appointments out of it so far, and for sure 1 buyer, probably 2, maybe even 3. So it's been great that way. It keeps me busy. It keeps me in contact with people. But I really want to show you personally what it's done for me. So my dream car was always a Jeep Rubicon. And after working with Platform for, I don't know, about 6 months, I was finally able to get one. Brand new, right off the lot. And it only had 6 miles on it. So it was glorious. Working with Platform and really working the program. If you work it, it works. So if you've been in it and say that it doesn't work, it's only because you're not doing anything with it. I have proof, because what I'm going to show you is the property I was able to buy, and it may not be huge, but it is on a premier lake. It's on Green Lake, which used to be the 2nd purest lake in the world. It's completely renovated. I can't wait to show it to you. So, you know, we're going to go there right now and take a look.
You know, I'm reminded of that classic quote from Zig Ziglar. You can have whatever you want in life if you'll just help other people get what they want. This is the very essence of the platform strategy. Just serve people. Before you ever ask for anything, provide value. Be the most helpful real estate agent in your market. As you'll see, it worked for Debbie, and it can work for you too.
I paid plenty for it just because it is where it is. but it is a Frank Lloyd Wright house, which does mean something. So I wanted to keep his design. And that's another reason I renovated what was there instead of tearing it down. It is a $500,000 house in a community where everything, the average price is $150,000. So it's an accomplishment. I never thought I would be able to do that. So we're almost at my humble cottage. So not only was I able to buy this new car, but Platform also allowed me to buy my new lake home.
So this is pretty cool. She'll actually show you the house that she bought.
So this is the lake home that I bought, and I was able to renovate the whole thing. What we're standing in was actually just a skirting porch. Going into the kitchen, I was able to put in all new countertops, new flooring, all new appliances, took out some walls, added some windows, opened up the living room. This was a couple tiny rooms before. But what I love about this place is this epic view of Green Lake, and thanks to Platform, I get to enjoy it every day.
So again, if you want to get set up with the same marketing system that Debbie used, and you want to get set up on a trial month of that marketing system, just go to www.platformmarketmap.com. All right, guys, I want to thank you for joining us on this webinar this morning. What I will do is I will have Mitch, I'll have Mitch send all of you an email with like a checklist, kind of like a bullet point list of all the things that Platform does for you, because we do set up your Facebook ads. We create the landing pages, the squeeze pages. We queue up automatic emails that go to your leads and text messages that get people to actually respond. Right, so you get into actual conversations with leads, via email and text. We set up retargeting campaigns for all of you. We basically become your marketing department, right? But I'll have Mitch send you an email with kind of like a checklist of all the things we do for you. I mean, like, we even edit all of your videos with Platform. So it really isn't like hiring a marketing company or marketing system. It's like having a full-blown marketing department at your disposal. And again, we only work with one agent per market, and so that's what makes it work so well. So all you have to do is go to platformmarketmap.com and then just take 5 seconds and tell us where you live. That's it. And we'll get you set up on a trial month of platform marketing where we will do all of that for you so that you don't have to learn how to do any of that stuff. You can just go out, convert leads, and sell more houses. All right, www.platformmarketmap.com. Thanks, guys.